Today, I'm going to be showing you how to play Scarface 1920 solo. Now, setup for this one is almost identical to the regular game, but here you'll be taking on the Enforcer bot. You just use the regular token, but I like to use the one of the Enforcer minis just to go in with the theme a little bit better. You also use the solo side of the character board. Here we're using Arnold Rothstein, and they start with a gunrunner and distillery owner as their dealers, with their starting supply based on what their businesses require. To activate the bot, you use 3 sets of cards labelled A, B and C, starting with the C ones, so you have to create 3 separate piles for each, shuffle them up and flip them over so you can't see what's written on them. And when drawing jobs, you draw them 2 at a time, pick 1 from each set and give the remaining 3 to the bot face down. Lastly, you want to put markers 1 to 7 randomly in every district, and make sure you've removed every card from the game with the black square in the bottom left hand corner of the cards. But that's it for setup. Let's get on with the tutorial. The bot always starts, and what they can do is determined by where their boss is on the track. Here he's still at the start, so gets 1 card as stated on the top and 2 actions as stated on the bottom. This changes as you eventually work their way up the track. So what you do is flip over one of the bot deck cards and you can take 2 action cubes. Looking at the top left fist icon, that denotes how much power they have to do their actions, and here it's 1 power, and in the top right corner it's how much the Enforcer moves. Here it's 1 move. The Enforcer was on District 3, so he moves up to District 4, which is mine. Always ignoring police at all times, and if they are at District 7, they move to District 1 and start working up through the numbers once again. How the bot activates is pretty unique though, as you start from the top leftmost card and you work your way across and down through each of the options on the board you can complete. Here they cannot do the first 2 actions, even with the +2 bonus power in the left column, as they need 5 to take over my business, so they will complete the 3rd action first. Moving 1 thug from their headquarters into my territory for 1 power. They can only move thugs from their headquarters, so don't do the actions if no one is there. Covering up the completed action, you then try to complete the next one, again going left to right and then moving down until you reach one you can complete. Here they will carry out a 3 power recruit action. To recruit, they have to send a guy to the underworld, and once someone is there, you move them up by 1 space on the crime track for each of their thugs in the underworld. Here they have 1, so just go up 1. Next they recruit for 3 power, so they move 3 people, first from their safe house to their headquarters, and if there's no one left in the safe houses, only then will they move people from the slums to the safe house. But that's it in terms of bot actions. All you have to do then is create a discard pile for the used cards. Do not shuffle them back into the main deck ever, as when they run out of cards they will reorganise. Next though, let's show you what happens when the bot upgrades their gang board. Here they have a bonus of 2 power, so that is what they have to spend. Now the upgrade is based on where the Enforcer is located, and now they are in District 5. So you look at the district on the gang board. Number 5 is the Nightclub Upgrade that costs 2 power and $4 to upgrade, so they can complete the action, but it does also move them up 1 on the crime track. Please always remember to do that after you've covered up the space. And you take the cube from the closest to the boss following the arrows, move them up and you will now give them their bonus on the left hand side, so the enforcer will now draw 2 cards and have 2 action cubes every turn. When they upgrade their nightclub though, they flip over any district they control to the nighttime side, and then they place a nightclub token. They can only have 2 of these, but they are very valuable. Now you can see what happens when the enforcer has 2 cards in play. As I said before, you go left to right after placing them next to each other, always starting from the top left and going right until you move down. Here they moved 2 thugs from other districts as they had 2 power, but for their second action they will supply their neighbourhoods. To do this, you move one of their thugs from the headquarters to one of their dealers, but unlike you, they receive the benefits of both, so claim 2 guns and 3 barrels. They will always try to place them in storage, but if they are full up like they are here, as they only have 1 space denoted in the top right hand corner of the cards, they will move them onto the main board where they own a business, filling up their most profitable district first, but here they only have 1, so everything just goes here where they have infinite storage. Next I'll show you how the bot acquires an associate from the row. Moving 1 thug to the underworld to start with and upping the crime rate as applicable. Here it gets up by 2. You then add up their total power, which here is 2, and you select an associate whose star value at the bottom matches that power value. Since they only have 2 power, they can only recruit either the street gambler or the teamsters, as they will always spend the max power they have. And in the case of a tie, they choose the one furthest left, so they pick up the street gambler. Once purchased, you place the card face down in the pile closest to their board, and you give them the ring, which will net them $1 at the start of every turn until they lose it. But that's not everything. As soon as they hire an associate, they pull a new card from either the A or B pile to add to their deck. Level 1 to 3 associates mean they add a B level card. Levels 4 to 5 mean they add an A level card. And they will always spend barrels to place it on top of their deck if they can. B level cards cost 1 barrel. A level cards cost 2 barrels. And when placed, it always goes on top of their unused deck. Next up is the reorganisation phase for the bot, and this takes place when they have no cards left to draw. And they do have a couple extra phases to add onto the rules, so please keep track of them all in the solo rules. Firstly, they sell in all of their districts, starting with the most profitable and taking the supplies from anywhere on the board or dealers to complete every sale that they can. Here they sell 4 barrels and 1 gun to the nightclub district, but the truck for the bot acts as both defense and supply, so all they have to do is remove 3 barrels and 1 gun, making $28 from the sale. Next they gain $3 for each business marker in their owned territory. Here they have a nightclub and casino, so make $6. Then they steal money from you the player. To do this, you take their total number of jobs and times it by the number of news articles in play. Here they have 3 jobs and there is just 1 news article, so 3 times 1 is $3. And that is what you owe the devious swine. Next they retrieve thugs from dealers, authorities and prison based on their lawyer value. As you see, their lawyer value is upgraded to 3, so if they had 3 blokes in prison, they would get those back and they would go back straight to the headquarters. Thugs from authorities and dealers sections just all return. It's not based on recruitment value. Then they recruit based on their value, and that is only 2 at the moment, so they move 1 from the safe house to the headquarters, and then they move a bloke from the slums to the safe house for training. All you do then is reshuffle the solo mode deck of all the cards they have collected. And lastly, you move the time track by 1 space towards the extra space, ending their turn, and now it's back to you. Next we will discuss though what happens when a bot sells to their neighbourhoods outside of a reorganisation turn. First you move one of their thugs to the underworld and now they go up 3, much like us, so we are very close to a raid because we're being very, very naughty. And then starting from their most profitable neighbourhoods, you just sell everything they have got to as many businesses as they can towards their power. Still using the bonus of 1 from the truck, and so the bot here makes $28. Now let's show you how the bot takes over neighbourhoods. Firstly, add all power from the top left and bonus power. Here they have 2 power. And then add up their thugs and trucks in the same district, which here is 3. So in total they have 5 power to take over a new territory. The bot will always prioritise the most expensive neighbourhood to claim first if there are 2, like here, and so they will try to claim the top one. The neighbourhood has a defence value of 3 in the top left, and the police car will add +1 to that number. So they need to match or better a defence of 4 to claim it. And since they have 5 power, they can claim the neighbourhood, placing one of their markers on top of the neighbourhood to denote it as theirs. And now they will try to sell everything to 2 places. Next we will discuss what happens during an extra phase after a 3rd reorganisation. And the first thing you do is carry out a raid. At the start of a raid you put everyone who was in the underground into the prison space, and I mean everyone from all sides. Then you flip over a raid card from the deck and complete the raid effect action first. This one wants you to place the cops on the board back to their starting locations, which are the far south side, far north side and central. Then based on where you are on the track, red, orange, yellow or green, you suffer the effect as denoted on the card. Here we have to spend $2 for the number we are on the crime track, so we both have to pay $20. But lastly, you just move down the track based on your lawyer's value. Ours is 2, theirs is 3, so we move down to 8, they go to 7, and that's it. Raid over, discard the card. Because we were in the extra step though, we move Elliot Ness up by 1 on the track. We remove the rightmost associate cards from the game and refresh the cards down by 1 step. And then you reveal a news card and complete whatever it says. This one here being very nasty as we both lose control of our neighbourhoods as we have to remove 2 from the game. If the bot had more than 2, you would remove the 2 which are worth the least. And lastly, after completing the action on the news cards, you place it face up on the right news pile and move the paperboy or time token back to the 1 to 2 player marker. Lastly, all we have to cover is what the bot does in the authority space, as they can either add business markers based on how much power they have after placing a thug in the spot. Let's say they have 2 power, so you take 2 tokens of businesses at random, like this speakeasy and casino. Then you place them on their most profitable neighbourhood first, and then fill up their next most profitable. So here, the nightclub neighbourhood has the max 4 businesses it can. They could also visit the authorities to sell excess stock based on how much power they have. So here, with 2 power, you place a thug in the authorities space, and sell whatever stock they have. Here they sell 2 guns because they had 2 power, so make $6 for each sale, thus earning $12 for selling guns. And they could visit the authorities to retrieve as many thugs from prison as they have power. Here they have 3 thugs in prison, so with 2 power to spend they can break 2 of them out, moving them back to their headquarters ready to be used on their next turn. Now there's only a few more bot actions left to discuss, like when the bot claims either a job card or a new dealer. Here you place a thug into the underworld and you just claim 1 card face down. New jobs just get added to their jobs pile. And dealers go face down next to their other 2 dealers. They can never be used. What happens when they steal from your neighbourhoods though? Here, when the enforcer is either in your neighbourhood or adjacent to it, adjacent meaning the district he's in touches the red lines of other districts, so the enforcer here can steal from districts 1, 2, 4 and 6, supply from your owned neighbourhoods as much as they like up to their power level. So here, since we own districts 6 and 2, he can steal 2 of our barrels because we have left them on the board like Saf Sods, and with his 3 power, he can steal up to 3 supplies of any type he can get his grubby mitts on. So he claims 2 from us. And then he places them wherever he can fit them. If they have space in their deals, they will go there. If not, they will just go to their most lucrative neighbourhood they own. But that's it for the Solar Enforcer part of the video. There are a few other actions, like you paying them money based on your crime track place, or them lowering their crime value by power rating, but they should be easy enough for you to understand, as the text covers those actions well. Now though, it's time for you to learn how to play Scarface 1920 against the bot. When you start the game, you will draw a hand of 3 cards after shuffling your deck. Your starting deck has a boss card, which we'll discuss a bit later, 2 lieutenants and 3 bodyguards. The bodyguards each have 1 power symbol in the top left, and the lieutenants have 1 deal symbol. The symbols you'll need to do most of the best actions in the game. When it's your turn, you must play at least 1 card from your hand, but you can play as many as you like. For instance, if I play 2 lieutenants, I get 2 deal strength, as all the numbers stack. But if you play a card over 2, like here, where I have 2 deal and 1 power, you have to move up 1 space on the crime track for each card you play over 2. So if I played 4 cards, I would have moved up 2 spaces. Anyway, when you play your cards and put them onto the table for everyone to see, this is called your plan. It's locked in at this stage. You add your necessary crime if needed at this point, and then we go on to the action phase. It's at this point you may carry out either a skill from the cards drawn, complete a job, or complete 1 order using the strength you have placed. Here it would be 2 deal, but first let's discuss skills, as they are the text written on the bottom of the cards, as seen here, where you can retrieve 1 thug from a district or a deal, and planning around these skills will see you excel at the game. As here, since we have a thug in a district and we have a thug on a deal already for the 2 lieutenants we played, we can get both our vital thugs back into our headquarters to be used again on our turn. And each card has a skill, so make sure you plan effectively. But what of our order? Well, with deal strength, we can send a guy to the underworld that moves us up on the crime track for each thug there. And we can do 1 of 5 actions for 2 deal strength. Remember to place guys they need to always come from your headquarters space, unless it's stated otherwise on skill texts. Firstly, we can hire an associate whose stars at the bottom match our 2 deal strength. So here we could hire the union leader, teamsters or the bookmaker, reading their skills and power to see which one we like. I've decided to take the union leader because deal power of 2 is sensational for 2 stars, and he will let us draw jobs and gain money, and once claimed, the cards either move down to fill up empty spaces, or you just flip over a new one like I did, with you then getting a chance to spend 1 barrel to place it into your hand for associates levels 1 to 3, or 2 barrels for levels 4 to 5, same as the bot. And always remember, when you make an associate action, to claim the family ring. The second action you could do though in the underworld is getting a job card. Here you draw from the jobs deck as many cards as your deal strength. Here I've drawn 2 as we had 2 deal strength. You look at all of them, decide which one you want, and then place it with your other unfulfilled jobs, ready to become active when you meet the requirements placing unchosen ones at the bottom of the jobs pile. The third action you could do is hire a new dealer. In the same way as jobs, you draw as many dealers as you have deal power, so here we draw 2, and then you choose one. We chose the Smuggler as 2 strength early game is easier to acquire, and you can then either place it as a separate deal as we have here, where if you have 2 strength you just place a thug on top and you earn 3 barrels, 2 of which can be stored on the card as you see in the top right. Or you can place a deal under an existing one like this. Now we need 3 strength to activate it, and we only have 1 storage, but we make 5 barrels every time. The best supply in the game. Next though, we will discuss the sales to our neighbourhoods, a great action to get rid of stock you might think is going to be stolen. For every deal strength you have, you can sell to each neighbourhood. So with our 2 deal, we can sell goods to both our neighbourhoods. If we only had 1, we could only sell to 1. Once you decide to do a deal though, you take all your goods from every place on the board. This includes barrels and guns from all neighbourhoods and dealers holding stock, and you place them on the neighbourhoods you're selling to. Here we make $19 from selling 4 barrels. In our second neighbourhood though, we only have 1 barrel and 1 gun. But a truck, and only a truck from our supply, can bypass the requirement for 1 of our goods. So we can sell to that neighbourhood and make $18. Our only issue is the cops are watching us, so they have to be bribed, and you pay them $2 to turn a blind eye, but $16 is still alright for the cost of only 1 barrel and gun. The last job you can do in the underworld though is recruit, and you do this by moving as many thugs as you can equal to your deal strength. We of course have 2 deal strength, so we move 1 thug from the safe house to the headquarters, and 1 thug moves from the slums to the safe house. I could have moved 1 thug from the slums to the headquarters for 2 power also if I wanted, but that's all the underworld actions complete. Now let's discuss what happens when you send your thug to the authorities with 2 deal power that we have. Here you can do 1 of 5 actions, but you just don't go up on the crime track for visiting the coppers. Firstly, you can sell excess stock to the police based on your deal strength. Here we have 2 deal strength, so we can sell 2 excess stock we have in our possession. That means on the board or in our dealer's supply, and we will make $6 for each good. Here I flog 1 barrel and gun, so make myself $12. We could also though reduce our crime rate by our deal strength. Here we are at 5 crime, so we of course go down by 2 on the board, but we can never go below Elliot Ness. That 1 position above him is the lowest you can go. Luckily, Ness caps at 6, so the lowest you could ever realistically be 7, but I've never seen him go that far just yet. The third action you can do is gaining business tokens, and actual great way of earning consistent income, so please don't forget about this one. Anyway, you take markers at random, matching your deal strength. So here we take 2 tokens. And then you just place them around your neighbourhoods you control. Here I could have filled out District 6, but I decided to spread them out, as every neighbourhood can only have a max of 3 and a nightclub. The fourth action sees you buying guys out of prison. So if you have 3 there like me, as long as you have 2 deal strength like we do, you can reclaim all of your thugs from there. And when they return, they instantly go back to your headquarters ready to do more actions. The last action you can only do at the cop's place though is absolutely brutal if you can time it correctly. And yes, it costs a lot. It costs 5 deal strength. But you can then send the coppers to one of your opponents and remove their control token from any neighbourhood you like. This means you just remove your rival's token from anywhere they control, and suddenly they need to reclaim that neighbourhood and can't sell if they don't own another neighbourhood. This action is brutal, especially against the uncaring bot, and can be devastating if done early enough. That's it for deal strength now though. Let's talk about power, like these bodyguards have here. First, let's discuss their skill, which lets you move one cop on the board to anywhere else for the cost of a barrel or a gun. This means that I can pay a cop anywhere on the board to basically move anywhere for the cost of one supply item. Here I'm planning to take over the far north side, so I spend one barrel, and all of a sudden that cop car is suddenly keeping tabs on the bot. It's not great on bots because they ignore them, but when done against other players, this could be great. If though that cop car was in a district we control, we could move him for free to anywhere we like. But each bodyguard only lets you move one. So if you play two bodyguards like I have, we could move two, and sometimes when you're making a lot of money, you want these cops near you as they provide extra security for your businesses. You just end up having to bribe them occasionally. Anyway, the first action we can do for power is move thugs from our headquarters onto the neighbourhoods we control. Here we only have one neighbourhood and 2 power, so we can place 2 thugs from our headquarters into our district. If the police were here though, when we deploy our thugs, we need to spend $2 for every thug we deploy. So this move would cost us $4. Better to shift them for free, I think, if that's the case, so always check your skills. The next action we can do for power is move our thugs across the board. We have 2 power, so we can only move 2 thugs, and thugs can only move to an adjacent space. So here we move our 2 thugs for 2 power to District 2, but they could have gone to District 4 if we once again paid a bribe of $4 for the police, or District 1. Which also has police presence. But what happens if we have a car? Well, we can move that for 1 power along with as many thugs as we have extra power. So here we can move just 1 thug and the car for our 2 power. But they can then go anywhere they want across the entire board. So it's a great move to conquer the more profitable districts before your opponents. Just remember, you have to pay 2 for a cop bribe if there's a copper in there. Talking of conquering new neighbourhoods though, here we had already moved 1 thug to District 2, and so now we want to claim it for our gang. The first thing you do is add up all your troops and your power you have in the area you want to claim. Here of course I have 2 power, and our 1 thug gives us another 1, so we have a total of 3 power. Both thugs on cars add +1 to your power total, but trucks, for you, do not. Now the neighbourhood has a defence value in the top left of the card. Here it is just 3, so if you can match or exceed that number, you can successfully make it yours by placing a control token. Every police car and rival token though add +1 to the defence, so here the neighbourhood's defence would be a total of 5, and thus we wouldn't have enough power to claim it. Control markers also have +2 defence, so our rival's neighbourhood would have a defence total of 6 right now, as the enforcer token doesn't add anything, thus making rival territory hard to conquer. Lastly though, all that's left to cover with power on the board is getting supply from your dealers. I did briefly mention it earlier. You just move a thug from your headquarters to the dealer. You meet the requirements of, so here we have 2 power, so we earn ourselves 3 barrels, and those barrels can be placed either on our dealers if they have space, or on our neighbourhoods. Now though, let's talk about the last action we can take, and that is upgrading our gang board. Here you can spend deal, power and money to upgrade your gang. Handsize and lawyers require 2 deal and $4 at level 2, and 4 deal and $8 at level 3, for example. And of course, you can't upgrade to level 3 without first going to level 2. But when you spend your money and deal power to get the upgrade you want, you take the cube off the board to the left, which has arrows pointing you in the right direction as it snakes around, And not only does your boss upgrade, more on that in just a sec, but you also can gain extra cards and money. Like when you upgrade it to the third space, you suddenly see a hat symbol. These special spaces grant you access to your extra gang members with a hat on the bottom as seen here. And you just get one of them for free. Mostly you'll take either the counsellor or bookkeeper if you're Dino Bannon, but you'll place them in your discard or spend 1 barrel to get them into your hand to use. And a couple of these can be amazing, especially the counsellor that lets you spread your power and deal to do 2 orders. But that's it for those guys. Now let's talk about the boss who doesn't have any symbols or skills on their card. No, when you play your boss card, they get to utilise whatever numbers they get based on where they are on the gang board. We are at tier 3, so we get 2 power and 1 deal strength to utilise. And those numbers accumulate with any extra cards you play. But the boss's real power come in the form of their skills. Every boss has 4 written on the gang board. Some are better than others, like Dean here. But you get to choose any 3 to use, and you can do them more than once. Dean can rearrange his dealers however he likes, along with his supply. So the smuggler can now go on top of the alcohol supplier for extra storage. He can create 1 barrel or gun for every deal he has, hence why you want more dealers with Dean, as he just makes supplies easily that way. He can then spend 3 barrels to upgrade a level 2 stat for free, or spend 5 for a level 3 stat, so he's brutal at moving up this track fast. And lastly, he can just take a thug from the slums and place it in his own neighbourhood, thus eliminating the need for recruitment most of the time. Did I say Dino Bannon's a bit OP? Well, he's easily the best leader in this game, I think. But what of jobs, I hear you say now? Well, you always start with 3 at the start of the game, and they will each have a certain requirement to complete upon them and a certain type, instant or permanent. Take the mayor's birthday here, for instance. It's a permanent effect, so once completed, it will just go into play on your side of the board, and you will permanently have its effect in play, which this one here lets you upgrade your gang with no money cost. You just need the power or deal strength. Brutal, I know. But to get into play, you need 1 suitcase associate in your discard, and you need to play 1 booze and kiss associate in your plan. So for us, we have met those requirements, as a suitcase guy is in the discard, and we are playing the 2 bodyguards with the required symbols. You still do your actions and skills as written on the cards, but the job you've met the requirements of goes into play as well. All your other jobs just stay on the board face down, ready to be completed. Just don't suddenly forget about them, as some of these are really great. Instant jobs though trigger as soon as you meet the requirements and decide to play them, earning you whatever effect they state, and can be played during your opponent's turn also, as a bit of a gotcha. Like this rigged poker game here. That can only be triggered when they are making money from a sale, skill or job, and you can instantly take their cash, so long as you have the requirements of 1 club in discard and 1 nightclub. But that's basically how jobs work. Now let's get on to final scoring, which happens after the timer has reached extra. You've completed the raid and the end of prohibition card flips over, ending the game instantly. The first thing you do is add up all the money you have made during the course of the game for both you and the bot. We have made $225, which isn't the best, but it's fine. Then you add on all your business markers. This includes nightclubs, and you get $3 for each one. So we own 7, and times that by 3, it's $21 extra. Lastly, you add up all the stars from your associates, and you get $2 for every star. I have 15 stars in total, so times that by 2, and we get $30 extra. So in total we have $276, which is a little slim. You really want to be making over $300 in this game, but it is what it is. So long as you have fun, that's all that matters. And I hope that what you can get now, you hopefully know how to play this great game. Leave me a like and comment if you found this useful, and thanks for watching.